What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Piece, the show where we experience Indianapolis through the perspectives of all of its incredible people. My name is Patrick. I am your host, and this is The Open Door, our monthly series where we literally open the door to the studio and sit down with members of the community to talk about whatever is on their hearts. If you are interested in participating or just want to learn more, go to conversationpeacepod.com and click on The Open Door. And shout out to Life in Indy and the team over there for sponsoring this series and making it happen. Last but not least, we're going to get into it. So let's get into it right now. I don't know what I'm doing, but we haven't been in the saddle for a minute. We're back in it. My guest today is Laura Alvarado. How you doing, Laura?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I just want to quickly shout out Seth Johnson for making this happen.
Yes,
he has stayed in my inbox about wanting to get us connected and have this conversation. So shout out to Seth. He's an awesome person and does a lot of amazing work in the city. So
absolutely.
For anyone, Laura, who may not know who you are that's tuning in right now, do you mind sharing just a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Again, my name's Laura Alvarado. I'm the CEO of the Indiana Blind Children's Foundation. And my role at the foundation is to really lead the foundation towards its mission, to carry out its mission on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
And our mission really is to empower kids and their families impacted by vision impairments with the resources that they need to thrive. And be successful. So I've been there for 9 years, and it's been an amazing 9 years.
Yeah.
Really filled with a lot of positive moments of impact, challenging moments as well, obstacles. As you know, as a foundation, we're raising funds. We're a philanthropic foundation that supports the Indiana School for the Blind. So with that, there just comes a lot of different opportunities to think through what can help our students, learn from them, and be able to bring the community together to support them.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I've talked with Seth a lot about it, about kind of the work that y'all have been doing. And we just sat here before we got on mic and had a pretty incredible discussion just about the work that you do. And so I'm wondering, Laura, what is on your heart right now that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. You know, I think my role at the foundation is really finding space for people to be a part of our community. A lot of times people think about individuals who are blind or low vision, and maybe they don't know someone who is, doesn't have maybe a family member or does, and wants to be a part of this community to really support our students. And our students are just like any other kids.
For sure.
They want the same that their sighted peers wants. So we want to make sure that as a foundation that we're bringing people around that want to support our students in positive ways and bring people together to do so. So one of the big events that we're hosting on Saturday, September 6th is the Through the Looking Glass Gala. It's our biggest fundraiser. And this year, we're raising funds for a re-envisioned preschool program at the Indiana School for the Blind.
Okay.
Many may know who've been in northern Indianapolis for a long time that we are not on our current campus at 75th and College. Right now, we're in transitioned IPS buildings, waiting a new campus rebuild. And so our campus had been there at 75th and College since the late 20s, opened in 1930. And really, the state decided to co-locate both the deaf school, which is down by the fairgrounds, and the blind school onto the blind school's campus there at 75th and College. So that is under construction right now.
Yeah.
And we are working in one building. All the students and teachers and staff are in one educational building right now, and we had 33 buildings before. So if you can imagine the big transition that the school and the foundation had to move.
For sure.
100 years of stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, and for the kids too, who have been on the campus, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
And so for us, this year is extra special. We really want to draw attention to our our needs of our little ones. A lot of times as a foundation, we support a lot of programming for our middle and high school kids.
Sure.
And we've decided in the last year to really take a bigger focus on early learning and preschool programming. So as we have transitioned off of this campus, I feel like it's our time for these next 3 to 4 years to dream big, listen to the voices of our students and families around this state, and really build towards our next chapter. So we're really taking that time to do so. So the gala will be at the Embassy Suites in Noblesville, which we're excited. It's the first time for that venue for us. And we're growing. We took a leap of faith this year to go from 300 attendees to 400.
Okay.
So as you know, it's me and Seth as full-time staff, and we have a wonderful new administrative assistant, Olivia Walterman, who's our part-time staff member. So to be able to put on an event like that, we need many hands.
For sure. So a 400-person event put on by 3 people
and
is a lot.
Many supporters. So for our community, if you're interested in making a deeper impact, doing something that has a positive impact on kids here in Indiana, I say we're your organization to come through. So you can sign up to volunteer at the gala, or we do have some tickets left for this year's gala that we hope to sell out and make sure that this is a sellout event again, so that we raise as much money for our mission and the preschool program as we can.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you sharing all of that, and we'll make sure to link the gala and everything everywhere they can get a ticket and information on that in the show notes, so that way they can get there as well.
Great.
I want to ask about the shift to including and pushing to include programming and curriculum for the pre-K and younger kids. Was that you had talked about wanting to make sure that the people, the students and the parents were being heard, like their voices were being heard? Was that something you were hearing from them as like a program that they were hoping like could become available at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
So in the last year, thanks to the support of many supporters, but Nina Mason Pulliam Trust, to CICF, to Arthur Dean Family Foundation, we were able to launch a gaps analysis in the state. So we surveyed students, families, educators of kids who are blind, low vision throughout the state of Indiana, and interviewed individuals as well. So 200 voices provided us a lot of information in terms of what's needed. And the early learning interventions and preschool program was really one of those. So it kind of, what I love about our foundation is we're constantly saying, you know, we don't want to decide what someone else needs. We need to hear from our stakeholders who we're serving to make sure that we're providing the right resources. And so that came through over this last year, and the board and staff decided to really target that area as one of our areas to invest in. What happens a lot of times is kids that are blind, low vision may continue in their home school district, which is a wonderful choice. But a lot of times as they kind of continue through their public school district, they reach different obstacles and maybe don't have all the blind, low vision life skill supports that they can get at the School for the Blind. And so we know that if we can touch kids that are blind, low vision even earlier, provide those pre-Braille skills, that educational instruction like orientation and mobility. We have our 3-year-olds using a white cane and learning different techniques to get around. All about independence. And we know the sooner that we can educate and provide those types of instruction, the better it is for those students and their families moving forward, no matter where they end up.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. As a new, I guess, new-ish parent now, it's a year and a half. So
congratulations.
I'm counting as new-ish. We're navigating this like mobility, like what can you do, what can't you do, but empowering you to be independent while also not like running off the ledge. You know what I mean? And it's just been a really interesting journey, and I feel like we've been really privileged to not have like anything out of the blue happen that we've had to navigate. But I think what I love about the work that y'all do is that where I grew up in rural small town Indiana,
Okay.
like you would not have thought about that kind of access for or not even access, but resource being available in the first place.
Yeah.
Like it would have been happening in your school if it was happening at all.
Right.
And so I think like the fact that y'all have been doing this for 100 years, but also that like you're now at this inflection point of what I called off my contraction, but really it's almost like expansion because like you said, this cohabitation with the School for the Deaf and now the School for the Blind coming together, sharing facilities allows money to be freed up for in other ways that can allow maybe for a wider reach.
Absolutely.
On kids that need support in that way.
Yes. And so co-located campuses are what they're called.
I keep saying cohabitated.
That's okay.
Co-located campuses.
And it really what it does is, like you mentioned, we had very old historic buildings that were not easy to maintain. And so rather than continue that, what the state decided is to co-locate the deaf school and the blind school onto one campus, separate schools, separate instruction with some shared spaces. So for example, sports facilities will be shared as an example, but separate instruction for sure. And these new modern facilities are going to enhance both schools' reputation in the state.
Sure.
Because I know that, you know, if you are a parent and choosing for your little one, and we've had as young as 5 living on the campus, maybe families in a rural area, it's a huge sacrifice for that family to send that child on a bus to Indianapolis on Sundays and let, you know, these educational residential staff take care of your child. But what's so beautiful about both schools is that I really say, yes, they're schools, but they're community. And so when I first was even interviewed for the foundation, I always talk about this. There's these, I called it the castle on the hill. If you ever were at the School for the Blind, you would know what I'm talking about. But if not, we had this huge tower. And it was a castle essentially that was built for the School for the Blind back in the 1920s. And that tower really was kind of the iconic figure for the school. But as soon as you walked in there, it's this marble staircase, Art Deco architecture. But more importantly, as soon as you walked in, you could sense that warmth and that family from the staff that have been there. And there's something we joke about at the school, like either you're there for 1 year and it's not your flavor, or you're there for 30, 40 years. And so alumni of the school talk about teachers that they had 30, 40 years ago because those teachers and those staff were family to them from Sunday. Well, really all year round, right? Even though they left to go home on the weekends. But it's really this beautiful space. I think when I first started in 2016, I heard a lot of stereotypes. You know, is that an institution? And as soon as I walked in, I was like, wow, we really have to change the perception about the School for the Blind and the School for the Deaf. But really, you know, this is a home. It's a second home for our families and students. And so there's a beautiful magic. I call it the magic at the School for the Blind that happens. And I've just been really blessed to have my office in that tower for a long time and watch kids who maybe had a recent diagnosis in middle or high school of that they were going to be losing their sight. Come to the school, be very angry, go through the grief stages, and within 3 to 6 months become, you know, the leader of the wrestling team to, you know, just student council president to all of these things. And I think it's really a compliment to the School for the Blind and its leadership and team on how they provide that kind of home-like atmosphere that really supports kids.
Well, like you said, it's a community. My wife is a middle school English teacher who comes from a family of educators. And the thing that they talk about all the time is the relationship building. And it's like, she's great at the curriculum, great at making lesson plans and doing all of that. But where she really shines through is how she builds relationships with her students who then reach out to her after they graduate high school and they're off in college and doing stuff like that. Even though she taught them in 8th grade, like way back in the day.
They remember her.
They do remember. And I think like that's a conversation that we have a lot is like in our classrooms, it's less communal and it's more just like like transactional relationship of like parent or like child teacher, student teacher, instead of being like, we're building a community here where we can have sometimes tougher conversations, or you can be yourself and you don't have to be afraid to like do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And you're seeing that modeled over and over again. So like that example you just gave, like you come in feeling one type of way, but when you experience it, again, if it's not for you and you realize immediately, like you're going to stick around because that shows through, not just in the physical space, but in the intangibles that y'all have like pulled on and held on to.
Absolutely.
To do what you want to do.
I often call it, the school, as soon as a child gets there, and oftentimes this does happen more so than not, we'll have a middle school student or high school student who had a whole community of friends.
Yeah.
And suddenly they start to stand out differently, right? Because they can't see, they can't run maybe the same way that they used to. And so when you're in middle school, we all remember those days. In high school, you don't want to stand out. You want to fit in. And what I think the school does is provide kids and their families that hope. So you see that anger, grief, behaviors. And then transition. And obviously kids are kids, so they're still going to have those 100%. Here and there. But you see such a beautiful transition happen. And I really believe it's because the schools, provides that hope. And, it transitions from, oh gosh, I'm blind, low vision, to I'm proud of being blind or having low vision. And I think that's a beautiful space that our kids are nurtured.
Yes,
for, so.
100%. I think I'm big on identity. The whole reason I got into podcasting was part of my identity journey. And for a long time, I rejected my Asian identity because I've never been empowered or affirmed in that. And everything that I heard, even from other Asian people, was just like led me to reject that and believe myself to be white. And I share that because it took me a really long time to find spaces that not only was I safe enough to learn about my experience and then find other people who maybe shared a similar experience. I also found spaces to be brave enough to then lean into that and to start living as my whole self, as opposed to having a limiting factor on a particular part of my identity or a particular part of a community that I come from, as being ashamed or feeling bad about it, and instead embracing it, be like, oh, that's part of me. It's a big part of me. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no, you need to come over to school.
Yeah, I definitely need to. I've driven around, literally driven the block around it a bunch of, but once this new campus opens up, I would definitely love to come through. Oh my gosh, we'd love to have you. All right, I got a couple more questions for you. I definitely need to have you for a full conversation because we're just blowing way past time. I did want to ask you, you said year 9, you're on year 9. So year 10's coming up around the corner. You talked about taking big leaps right now, like taking big swings for things and really dreaming as big as you can. As you approach year 10 and kind of thinking beyond that, like what do you really hope to see come to fruition, come into the fold, whatever that might be for the foundation and for the schools?
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely want to increase our contact with little ones who are blind, low vision, and make sure that those families have the supports that they need to flourish, whether that be in their community or at the School for the Blind here in Indianapolis. 2, I would say we want to make sure that our kids transition well from the School for the Blind into college or whatever job or wherever they're going. And that was one of the big gap areas that we discussed as a board and with the school leadership as well. How do we, help students make that leap? And I think what is wonderful about the school is the kids feel so supported and feel so good that when they go off to college, it's a hard transition for anybody, first and foremost. But then second, those folks, teachers, educators that you knew that you could call or, call upon at any time. They're still there, but they're just differently there.
Sure.
And it's navigating new spaces and knowing what to do in those spaces and how to find the resources that you need to be successful in college or at a job. And so one of the areas that we're currently researching is how do we support either a transition time period between that graduation time to whatever is the next step, to, just making sure that the kids have everything that they need to move beyond that campus.
Yeah.
And really, I think a lot of times it can be really daunting.
Totally.
And scary for kids who've even started maybe in kindergarten at the School for the Blind and then graduated at 22, because we have kids that stay with us till 22 to ensure that they have all the skills that they need to be successful. So think about that, and then going to a totally new chapter and feeling a little out of place, right?
Yeah.
So as a foundation, we're studying that time. What could that look like? In other states that we've traveled to see some other co-located programming. Some are apartment style living on campus where the kids still have like a residential type mentor, but maybe it's more independence, right?
Yeah.
So they have to go to the grocery store on their own, pick out their groceries. They've got to go figure out their meals and make their meals. It's that next step in between, I think, that college entry time or job entry if you're going to live on your own.
For sure.
So that's a big area. We've also been discussing low vision mobile clinics. We have 13 in the state of Indiana. And so it was shared with us that maybe families don't understand what those are.
Sure.
So we need to be educating a little bit more, but we also need to make sure that families know where they are in the state of Indiana and have access to them.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going down to Kentucky soon to discover how the Kentucky School for the Blind Foundation does their programming with the low vision mobile clinics, and see if there's anything we can bring back here to Indy and put our own flavor, Indiana flavor on it. So those are three big areas. And while at the same time, as we know that these big areas need support, we as a foundation need to invest in the staffing and make sure that we have all the people on board to be able to carry those ideas out.
Totally.
So over these next few years, I'm really, with the support of the board, we're looking to expand the staffing, be able to deepen that staff engagement so we can do more in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be this next stage that people have been really waiting for and ready for, at least on the foundation level.
For sure.
It's really exciting to be a part of that growth time and see how we can make that deeper impact.
Well, thank you for sharing. I am excited to see what comes and how the team grows. And I'm excited to see y'all start populating this new campus and to see what happens. I think it's an exciting time. And I'm excited to support in whatever way I can. So to wrap up, as we ask all of our guests, Laura, thank you so much for sharing. What is the best way for folks out there watching, listening, tuning in right now to support y'all going forward?
Absolutely. There's volunteer opportunities. Like I said, our events each year take a lot of people to carry out. We have a wonderful gala committee of about 15 to 20 individuals who help throughout the year plan, raise support, and we're always looking for more individuals to support that event. We also carry out something called the No Limits series, and that's going to be shifting a little bit, but we know that we need to be able to bring more people together in creative ways.
Yeah.
And when I say more people, those are individuals and families who are blind, low vision with the community.
Totally.
We've heard a lot about isolation, especially in our rural areas. So if we as a foundation can help foster community engagement in different parts of the state, that's where we're going to be.
Yeah.
And we need a lot of people to do that. So
for sure.
If people would like to support us, indianabcf.org is the website to go ahead and donate. And I tell people there's space for everyone at the foundation. So you don't, even if you have $1 to give,
Sure.
it all collects and it all makes that impact on our students and families.
Totally. Well, we will have all of that, all of the foundation's things linked in the show notes for people to go tap in with. Make sure you go out and support the foundation and find ways to be part of the community as we come together and support y'all. So you can't have community come together if the community is not willing to step up and do that work. So we got to step up and do the work. Laura, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you giving us your time. Go to conversationpeacepod.com for everything Conversation Piece related. Shout out to Life in Indy for sponsoring this episode and the series. And until next time, I've been Patrick Armstrong, and this has been Conversation Piece, The Open Door. See y'all soon.